I'm Nathan Venz, partner at Pentagonal Aviation Infrastructure. We build what business aviation desperately needs and almost nobody is building. Let me tell you why that matters to you. Welcome to Cleared for Takeoff, the podcast about one of the most compelling, most overlooked, and most misunderstood investment opportunities in the United States today: corporate aviation infrastructure. I'm talking about hangars, fixed base operators, or FBOs, and maintenance, repair, and overhaul facilities. Over the course of this series, I'm going to make the case that these assets represent a once-in-a-generation opportunity for institutional investors, family offices, and anyone serious about deploying capital into real assets that generate durable, inflation-protected returns. Now, I want to start by being honest with you. When most people hear aviation investment, they think of airlines. And honestly, that's understandable. Airlines are the most visible part of the aviation ecosystem. But here's the thing: airlines are notoriously difficult investment. They're capital intensive, operationally complex, deeply cyclical, and brutally competitive. We're not talking about airlines, not even close. What we're talking about is the infrastructure that serves corporate jets, the Gulfstreams, the Bombardier Globals, the Embraer Praetors that are owned and operated by Fortune 500 companies, family offices, private equity firms, and ultra high net worth individuals. These aircraft are tools. They're not luxury indulgences for people who operate them. They're productivity assets. And those assets need a home. They need fuel, maintenance, crew facilities, custom services, and increasingly, they have nowhere to go. That's the core of what this podcast is about. There's a structural mismatch building in corporate aviation between the number of aircraft coming into service, and that number is enormous. We're talking about an estimated 8,700 new business jets worth approximately $277 billion over the next decade, and the infrastructure available to house, fuel, and maintain them. The gap between supply and demand is widening every quarter, and it's not a gap that can be closed quickly because of regulatory timelines, land constraints, construction complexity, and capital requirements that are substantial even by institutional standards. So what does that mean for investors? It means pricing power. It means captive tenants. It means long duration leases with inflation escalators. It means the kind of competitive moat that infrastructure investors spend careers looking for, sitting right here in an asset class that most of the institutional world hasn't fully discovered yet. The Apollos and the Bain Capitals of the world have started to notice, and we'll talk about that extensively in this series. But there's still a window, a meaningful window, and that's what this podcast exists to explain. Here's how we've constructed the series: 30 episodes organized into 3 blocks. The first 10 episodes lay the foundation. We'll walk through the hangar shortage, the FBO market, the MRO supercycle, the regulatory environment, and the specific market dynamics in Dallas-Fort Worth and Orlando, which are 2 primary target markets. The second block of 10 episodes goes deeper into the market intelligence, the institutional deal flow, the economics of individual asset types, the impact of Texas's business migration, and the consolidation wave that's reshaping the FBO sector. And the final 10 episodes are squarely focused on the investor perspective: portfolio fit, exit strategies, risk factors, and the case for acting sooner rather than later. Each episode is designed to be self-contained. You can listen in order or jump to the topics that matter most to you right now. But I'd encourage you to at least start with the first few, because the foundation makes everything else sharper. The numbers build on each other. The thesis becomes clear as the pieces come together. A quick word on who this is for. The podcast is proudly produced by Pentagonal Aviation Infrastructure and is designed for accredited investors, institutional LPs, family offices, and high net worth individuals who are evaluating their alternatives allocation and wondering whether aviation infrastructure deserves a place in the mix. Everything you'll hear is grounded in publicly available data from credible industry sources: Cerium, Honeywell, Boeing, IBIS World, and others, and in our own research and on-the-ground market knowledge. Nothing in this podcast is investment advice, and we'll say that clearly at the start of each episode. But what we will give you is a rigorous, honest, data-driven perspective on a market that we believe is among the most compelling in the alternative investment landscape today. All right, let's get started. In the next episode, we're going to dig into the hangar shortage, because before you can understand why this is an investment opportunity, you need to understand the problem it's solving. And the problem is real, it's structural, and it's getting worse. I'll see you there.